It was really fun. I liked it a lot.
I thought it was pretty good. I learned a lot of stuff I hadn't ever known.
Well, I liked it when they were trying to like eat in space and stuff, how they were trying to catch the food, and just watching them try to float in space and get used to the weightlessness and stuff.
The part where he was showing us how to go to the bathroom in space was pretty funny.
I liked it when they were trying to float in space and when the rocket was taking off.
I don't know, I liked all of it. I thought it was so interesting. Like all the pictures that he showed of the Earth, I thought it was amazing.
It was pretty entertaining watching those astronauts floating around.
The ships are neat and a lot of weird different things.
I liked how they did it, when they wanted to know what it would feel like in space, they would put them in the water with all the suits.
Mostly how they could just float around and not have to so it'd be really cool.
My favorite thing about space is the planets.
It's kind of hard to become an astronaut, and even if it's unlikely, you think it's unlikely that you're ever going to become, keep trying.
That was a little taste of what the children's reaction was to Space Days. And this is the home team, and we're here with Dr. Truman Henard, a real live astronaut. And I wanted to ask you, what exactly is the message that you want to deliver to the children?
Well, it's pretty simple. To believe in themselves, to set their goals high, to reach for the stars, and understand that they can achieve anything they want to achieve in life as long as they study hard and work hard and believe it here and feel it here. When I was in grade school, I wasn't the smartest kid in the world, barely made passing grades, a terrible test taker, and as a result, they put me in the vocational arts program when I got to high school. And I can remember one day a math teacher calling me aside. I was taking basic math, and he asked me why I wasn't in the college preparatory program. And I said, well, because I'm not smart enough. And he said, baloney, you're plenty smart, you just don't believe you're smart. And he gave me some guidance and some counseling, but for the first time in my life, I believed I could do it. And as a result of the inspiration that man gave me, I set my goals higher and higher, and all of a sudden I found myself in a position to where I'm one step away from a shuttle flight. I work at the best engineering firm in the state of Utah. I'm a principal partner there, and I love my work, I love my family, I love my job, I love the opportunities in front of me, and I want to teach these kids that if I can do it, they can do it, because there's nothing better than dreaming and setting your goals high.
Wow, the influence of a great teacher. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
What a change. Now, you have done this presentation hundreds of times?
Really, well over 1,000 times.
Oh my goodness.
Since 1992.
Wow, for thousands and thousands of people.
Well, I've lost numbers. I've lost count.
And yet you are willing to do this at any school that
If there's a request, absolutely. If there's a request, we will do everything in our power to make it work. I have a very busy work schedule. I still have to hold down a regular job and pay bills like everybody else does. Right. But you know, I work for Spectrum Engineers is a very community-oriented company. We like to give back to the community, and they see the importance in this program because we're wanting to foster the growth of the next generation of scientists and engineers, people that are going to take my job when I'm ready to retire.
And we hear that that's one of the areas that our country is not doing as well in.
You can see the reports, you know, that Japan, China, you know, their scores in math and science are off the board, and, you know, we're barely holding on. So if I can motivate kids to study harder in math and science and see a reason why they can set their aspirations higher, I've done my job.
Yes, you have certainly done your job. Now, I think we're going to put on the screen, but go ahead and tell our viewers how they contact you. If you want to go to your school principal and tell them about Dr. Truman Henard and his program, then you can contact him and he will come to the schools. You go to grade schools, high schools.
Any age group, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a school. Anybody that just wants to have a fun evening.
Like this group of homeschoolers that decided to put this together.
Absolutely.
And is there any cost to the schools?
The only cost to the school is their investment of time. It's a 100% community service. Spectrum donates my time, and as long as we can work it into a schedule that meets their curriculum needs, we'd be more than happy to put it together.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now tell me, what motivates you to continue to do this Space Days? Well,
like we said, I've done this presentation well over 1,000 times, And very early on, schools realized the value, teachers realized the value, and I'd get repeat invites back to the same school, maybe 2 years later after they cycled another group of new students through. And I was at a school in Murfreesboro, Illinois, a high school, talking to about 400 kids one day, second time there. There'd been like a 3-year gap. And standing in the back of the room was this student teacher with her arms crossed and her lips pursed, nodding profusely as I was delivering this message. I assumed an acknowledgement of the positive things I was trying to say. And when I was all done with the presentation, she marched herself right up the aisle and stuck out her hand and said, "I want to shake your hand." And I thought she was going to thank me for coming and talking to the kids. And she got a hold of my hand and wouldn't let it go. She says, "Because of you, I'm going to be a success." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she turned around and pointed to a little girl in the front row and said, "That's my kid's sister. She's a freshman. And when she came home and told my mom and dad that you were going to be here again, I drove home from the University of Missouri last night so I could attend this presentation because I was the student you were. I was a senior in high school when you were here. Barely passing grades, no motivation, going nowhere in life thinking, man, I'm going to be lucky if I get a job as a secretary." Oh. And after listening to your speech, what you'd accomplished, where you were at, I thought to myself, I can do that. So I set my goals higher and reached for the stars, and it's because of you that I'm going to graduate with a degree in honors in mechanical engineering from the University of Missouri next year. Chills ran up and down my spine because I thought to myself, oh my God, I actually changed somebody's life. And if I can do that for one student, it makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, you are very inspiring.
Thank you.
Absolutely inspiring. And it was fascinating to me how those kids responded. You know, there were several of us. I know a lot, my kids are teenagers, and they said afterwards that they didn't want to ask questions because they didn't want to take the time away from the little children. But we all had questions that we wanted to ask, and it's so fascinating to hear Dr. Truman talk about. So, yeah, I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no.
Doctor with the first name.
Just call me Truman. Okay? No, Truman is fine.
To have him explain all the things that we were watching in the documentary, and then one of everybody's favorite parts was when he told about how astronauts go to the bathroom in space. And we won't do that on the show because
we need another 10-minute segment to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's just, first of all, it's hilarious. It's so funny that, you know, you're learning so much, and yet we just had a great time, just a great time being there.
Well, I'm glad that you did, because the program is meant to entertain, educate, and inspire.
Well, that you did. And I have to ask you one of the questions that one of my children had. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I'll ask you first the question that our cameraman, Mike, had. He wanted to know, how do you get the shuttle from where it's built to where it's launched? Well,
the shuttle is bolted. You know, if they can get the model on that. But the shuttle is bolted down here at the solid rocket boosters at the top of what we call the mobile launch platform. And they put these giant 300-ton crawlers that are like big bulldozers underneath it that are hydraulically actuated. It lifts the entire launch platform up and takes it on a 3.5-mile ride at 1 mile an hour out to the launch pad, and it sets it back down on the launch pivots and takes off from there.
That's a pretty cool prop there.
Yeah, it's worth about $1,000.
Now,
it's handmade.
Really? Oh, my goodness. And are they reusable, the shuttle?
The shuttle is the first reusable space vehicle. The only part that's expendable is this big orange external fuel tank. The SRBs are made right here in Salt Lake City, the solid rocket boosters in Utah. You know, the nose cones pop off, they float back in the ocean, they haul them back and ship them back out to Utah, and they refurbish them, send them back to KSC, and we integrate the vehicle and take it back out and reuse it all over again.
How many times do you think will they be able to reuse them?
Well, an orbiter is designed to fly about 100 times.
Really? That much?
We've got 3 orbiters in the fleet now, and of course, you know, we've lost 2 of them. And the 3 that are left have got about 30 missions each under their belt.
Okay, now, when do you think you'll get a chance to go into space?
Soon, I hope, because the shuttle program scrubs at the end of 2010 as we move on to the Constellation program. And that'll be a whole new set of flying circumstances that we're all going to train for.
And they need engineers, I'm sure.
They need engineers and scientists, that's right. You know, and age is starting to catch up to me a little bit too, so I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
But you stay in shape, and
I try to stay in shape.
You have to go back and retrain every couple of years, I think you said?
Every 2 years you resubmit your paperwork and you tell NASA about anything new that you've done, any new degrees you may have earned, something like that.
That's great. Well, I have one regret about our evening, Space Days evening, and that's that I did not stand in line with the kids to get a copy of your autograph picture.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've already taken care of that in advance because I know that I missed you. I brought you a picture with me that I personalized and put my trademark motto on there.
Reach for the stars. I love that.
Now, there's a caveat with that, though.
Okay.
I'm just a lowly electrical engineer. You're a TV movie star. I want a picture of you to hang on my wall in my office so I can tell everybody that was on your TV show.
Okay, we'll see what we can do about that.
All right.
Thank you, Truman.
Well, thank you
it's just been
for
an
having me.
honor to have you here.
It's been an honor to be here.